everyone, and welcome to Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review. I'm Stephanie, and I've been collecting and selling vintage fashion magazines for over 20 years.
And I'm Morley. I'm a former copywriter and am now an award-winning playwright and screenwriter.
Together, we will examine some of your favorite vintage fashion magazines from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
On Uncovered, we'll discuss some of the magazine's models, layouts, and did I mention the models?
And we'll also review some of the ads and articles that make these magazines such a great piece of pop culture history. So, fasten your seatbelts and let's get uncovered. Hey everyone, and welcome to Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review Podcast, episode number 8. Now, as you know, we love hearing from our listeners. So when one of our favorite listeners, Kelly O, reached out to us and asked us to review Harper's Bazaar, November 1998,
we decided to do it.
Of course. So, Kelly, this episode is dedicated to you. Having said that, let's now uncover Harper's Bazaar, November 1998.
So, Steph, what do you remember about 1998 or maybe November of 1998? Anything in particular?
So now we're towards the ends of the 90s.
Right.
And I was working, and I was probably preparing for our company Christmas party.
Well, how do you know you were working? Maybe it was a day off.
It was a month.
Okay.
I was most probably working.
Okay.
But how about you, Morley?
Well, I was working as well. I don't remember too much about 1998. The end of the 90s were kind of a blur. They all seemed to blend together. But let's talk about some of the best songs or the most popular songs at that time.
Sounds good.
So, for example, do you remember The Power of Goodbye?
Very well.
By Madonna, of course.
Great song.
And Doo-Wop, That Thing by Lauryn Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And another song, This Kiss by country singer Faith Hill. Also, let's talk about some of the films that were popular. Now, this particular issue I know you'll talk about has to deal with Brad Pitt. So one of the movies that was popular, it just came out at that time, was Meet Joe Black. And you saw that movie?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Also, The Water Boy with Adam Sandler. I know a lot of people saw that. I did not. Did you?
Oh, Meet Joe Black. Going back to Meet Joe Black, I definitely saw that, yes.
Right, okay.
Yes.
And how about The Big Lebowski?
Great movie.
Yeah.
Classic.
I found it was one of those movies where it took me a few times to see it to really appreciate it. Sort of like Men in Black with Will Smith. The first time I saw it, I didn't really care for it that much. But repeated viewings, I really seemed to enjoy it. And that was especially true with The Big Lebowski with Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, John Turturro. The dude abides. So that's what's going on in 1998 November. And let's continue on with this issue.
Okay, so Harper's Bazaar, November 1998. I'm going to go ahead and read some of the headlines from the cover. Party Party, the ultimate good time guide. Vaginal plastic surgery, the final frontier.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
Do I have to? These are words that I never thought would come out of my mouth on a podcast.
No, I think I missed that.
Vaginal plastic surgery, the final frontier.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Meet Brad Pitt. So there's a fantastic article in the magazine about Brad Pitt.
And I like the order of that. With the, vaginal surgery and Meet Brad Pitt. It's like vagina, meet Brad Pitt.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what if that was done purposely?
I don't know. If one doesn't grab you, the other one is sure to.
Well, he won't. But anyway, let's go on.
No pun intended.
Okay, let's go on.
Okay. Fun furs, cozy gowns, rock and jewels, shopping for the perfect party dress. Okay. So on the cover, we have Bridget Hall, photography by Patrick Demarchelier, hair by Jimmy Paul for Garin, makeup Brigitte Reiss-Anderson, and fashion by Giorgio Armani. So on the cover, we have Bridget Hall. She's wearing this strapless red corset bodysuit and red silk layered floor-length skirt. Beautiful. It looks like a dress, but I'm just now realizing it's actually 2 pieces. She's sitting on, it's a picnic table.
It looks like a
painted blue.
Right. And what color would you say her dress is?
It's red.
Not fuchsia?
No.
Okay.
That's pink.
Well,
it's red.
Okay.
No, it's red.
Okay.
So she's sitting on a picnic table. I'm not sure what the intention was, whether this is supposed to be prom. She is a young girl. She looks beautiful. Hair and makeup is impeccable. It's done. She's got shoulder length, sort of light brown hair. And the makeup is done very naturally, I would say.
Yeah, it doesn't look like she's wearing much in the way of makeup.
No, she doesn't. She probably doesn't need very much, but it's beautiful makeup.
Right.
And in the background, I'm not sure if this is an indoor or outdoor shooting, but there's like this sort of stripe behind her. Now, you know what I did notice is her head is actually blocking the banner of the word Bazaar, which they do from time to time.
Well,
obviously,
maybe,
everyone knows it's Harper's Bazaar,
but maybe her head is supposed to replace the A.
Perhaps.
Or not.
Perhaps. Yeah. Anyhow, so that's the cover. Now our cover girl, Bridget Hall, she's an American model, very big model of the 1990s. She's born in Arkansas. She started modeling by the age of 10. So by the age of 17, she was listed by Forbes magazine as one of the best 10 money-making supermodels, along with Cindy Crawford and Christy Turlington. So you can see the magnitude of her career.
Right.
She's modeled for Versace, Gucci, Ralph Lauren, Victoria's Secret, Dior, and on the covers of Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, and Allure. And just an aside, I'm not sure if you knew this, but Bridget Hall actually dated Leonardo DiCaprio in 1994.
Well, Leo told me this, and he
he
didn't want to talk about it. It was a period in his life he wasn't proud of. Nothing against her, but you know how he is. He's very
I'm sure
secretive
anyone
that way.
would be thrilled to date Bridget Hall. This was 4 years earlier that they dated in 1994,
right.
And she's said to be the first of his model girlfriends. So on this cover, she's 20 years old. She looks gorgeous. Another thing I noticed about the cover, actually, she's wearing no jewelry. None.
That's
Zero.
True, yeah.
And I guess this is the style in the 90s, at this time in the 90s. And you know what? I actually think I like it that way. It's very simple but elegant. It's not overwhelmed with jewelry. And you know what? I actually like that. Well, sometimes I feel like the jewelry detracts from the fashion, especially when it's very simple and elegant, like this dress is.
I was going to say, because of what she's wearing, I think if she were to wear like a necklace or anything like that, or these really ostentatious earrings, it might take away from the bodysuit / gown that she's wearing.
I totally agree. And yet in the 80s, you would see that a lot.
Right.
You would see whatever they were wearing bracelets, necklace, big earrings. And this is a departure from that, and I really do like it.
Yeah, it's a very clean cover.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy Paul, the hairstylist, just wanted to talk a little bit about him. He's a fantastic hairstylist. He's from Pittsburgh originally and followed in his mother's footsteps as a hairstylist. He became a hairdresser, moved to New York. Probably not in that order. I think he actually moved to New York to become a hairdresser. On his 19th birthday, he moved. And he's worked with hairstylists such as Danilo Orbe, and here he's working with Guerin. And some of the celebrities that he's worked with are Michelle Williams, Lena Dunham, Emma Stone, Laura Stone, and Giselle.
Great.
So
now, when you say Giselle, are you talking about Giselle Bundchen? Or?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now she goes by one name. Got it. Okay. Good to know.
So that's the cover of Harper's Bazaar, November 1998.
Great. Thanks, Steph. So before we go on, I want to talk a little bit about the magazine. You know what I really noticed about this one in particular, Steph?
What's that?
It's how nice the pages feel. Did you notice that the pages are a little bit thicker? They have like a really nice glossy feel in each and every page. So a lot of people that I've spoken to much prefer physical magazines than the online version, like yourself.
I know that I definitely do. It's not the same when you're reading it from a tablet. It just isn't.
And it's the same thing with books as well. So despite the popularity of the Kindle and the Amazon device as well, the physical books still outsell the ebooks by, I think it's like a 5-to-1 ratio. It's sort of like when movies came around, the talkies, and people thought, well, it's going to kill radio. Well, it's not. And of course, there was that song that video killed the radio star.
Yes.
So whenever new technology comes out, you're always worried about, oh, the old technology is going to go away. And it's kind of weird to think of print as technology.
Now, do you think it's because this is what we're used to in our formative years? And do you think possibly the next generation will prefer reading from a tablet?
It's a really great question, but there is something about the tactile sensation of flipping the pages, sometimes even smelling the print, whatever it is. It's an olfactory experience. It's really more than just reading. It's the touching. It's the smelling. It's the whole, exposure. It's the whole experience of sometimes ripping open the plastic and flipping the pages. It's really exciting for a lot of people. I know, for example, when you and I go on vacation, you much prefer going to a store, flipping through the magazine before you buy it to see, and then purchasing it. So,
for sure. I always load up on magazines when we're traveling.
Yeah.
And even in my case, for vintage magazines, sure, you can find the pictures online. I mean, you can Google anything, but it's not the same as opening up that cover and touching something that was around in the 70s or 80s. There's just something special about that.
It's an all-encompassing experience. And that leads me to my first ad, which is on pages 16 to 17. It's for Avita. And on the left-hand side, you see a picture of some daisies. And underneath, it says, smell like diphenyl oxide. Now, diphenyl oxide is really a chemical compound, and it's supposed to mimic some sort of floral scent. And it's used in a lot of perfumes and a lot of skincare products. But at the end of the day, it's still a chemical. And of course, we want to avoid chemicals as much as possible. On the other side is an ad, obviously the entire thing is an ad for Avita. And it says, make peace. And what Avita is basically saying is that they use 100% flower and plant aromas. It's sort of like the difference between when you are doing some baking. Are you going to get pure vanilla extract, or are you going to buy something called vanilla flavor? And that's kind of what they're saying. I think it's a very, very clever ad. That you don't want to get something that mimics flowers. Why not get the actual flower compound themselves?
Well, absolutely. And the ad, I think it's very effective because it draws you in. Because on the left page, you're reading smell like diphenyl oxide, and you're going, what is diphenyl oxide? So that's the first thing that grabs your attention about this ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And it just brought to my attention, about the whole experience with the magazine versus like an online magazine. And there's nothing wrong with online magazines, but again, it's multi-sensal. It's multi-senses. It really affects you in a multitude of ways.
And this is sort of the beginning, I think, of our obsession with everything organic that we have now. So now we've come to page 214 in the magazine, and it's a layout. It's entitled One Cozy Evening, and I'm just going to go ahead and read the caption. When the occasion calls for major dressing up, you no longer have to reach for the satin and sequins. This season's after-dark dresses are as soft and woolly and chic as its day pieces. Get comfortable. Opposite page. Okay, then they start to describe the outfits.
Okay.
So we're looking at black and white photography. The model is Shalom Harlow.
Oh, okay, shalom. Now, for those of you who may not know, you've heard the word shalom. It's, of course, a Hebrew word, and it means hello, goodbye, and also means peace. So I'm assuming it probably means peace Harlow as opposed to goodbye Harlow or hello Harlow. So anyway, it's a very popular Hebrew name.
Yes. So Shalom Harlow is the model. Photographer Patrick Demarchelier, as if you remember, he also did the cover of this magazine.
Yes, my memory's not that bad. I can remember about 5 minutes ago.
Hair by Orlando Pita and makeup by Diane Kendal. So this layout is evening wear in fabrics such as wool, cashmere, wool jersey. And the idea is that you can be comfortable and elegant.
The only thing they're missing is poplin. I'm disappointed.
Maybe poplin's just not warm enough or comfortable enough.
I have no idea. I still don't know what poplin is, but go ahead.
So the gowns that they're showing, they're all long. One gown is a wrap. The styles, they all vary from sleeveless, off-shoulder, strapless, short sleeve. We've got long sleeve, V-neck. There is absolutely no cleavage on any of these gowns, but there is one with a sexy low back. I'll just turn to that page right here.
So she has a low back. Was that mean like is it a birth defect, or is this you talking about the clothing?
Oh my goodness,
Go
Morley.
ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So the colors shown on the gowns are cream, black, beige. They're simple gowns, no patterns or embellishment, and absolutely, again, no jewelry on the model. She's wearing her hair, it's curly. It's sort of in a messy updo, and it's tied up with some sort of hairband. Makeup is focused on the eyes, and the fashion designers in this layout include Jil Sander and Demeulemeester, Ralph Lauren, Marc Jacobs, Strenesse-Gabriele, Yohji Yamamoto, Moschino, and Donna Karan. I apologize if I butchered some of those names.
Some of them. Go on.
And just looking at this layout, she looks very beautiful. Now, Shalom Harlow's very poised, statuesque.
Yeah, she looks very tall.
She's Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
She's a former ballet dancer. She's originally from Oshawa, Ontario.
Which is a very working class suburb of Toronto. It's about 40 minutes away from Toronto, very working class. They used to have GM plants there, so car manufacturers, so very nice.
It is. And in fact, she said that she was raised by a working class single mom who was raising 3 kids.
Right.
She was discovered in 1985 at a Cure concert in Toronto, age 15.
Wow, she has good taste in music.
She does. She began her rise in the early 90s, and she appeared on 6 American Vogue covers between 93 and 1997. She's also been an actress. She appeared in the movie How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, co-starring Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey. I'm sure you've seen that movie, Morley.
Oh, yeah. It's the top of my list, right beside
Chick
Citizen
flick,
Kane and
exactly.
Blazing Saddles.
But it's a cute movie, actually.
Okay.
And
All
that
right.
came out in 2003. So, unfortunately, Shalom began to feel unwell, and her condition worsened in 2013 before she turned 40. Turns out that she had Lyme disease and black mold poisoning from her home.
Poor thing.
Yeah. So she was actually bedridden, and for a time she needed a wheelchair to get around.
Wow. You know who also had Lyme poisoning, had Lyme disease, is, what was the singer, Canadian singer as well? She was...
Celine Dion?
No.
Sorry, Celine Dion, I didn't...
No.
I'm guessing.
This is the one for Skater Boy? Remember?
Oh my goodness. Avril Lavigne.
Thank you. Avril
Lavigne
also had Lyme disease.
Really?
Yeah, and she had not recorded for a very long time. So
that's terrible.
It takes a long, long time to recover from Lyme
very
disease.
debilitating.
Yeah.
So. But Shalom Harlow, she's since actually recovered, and she started modeling again.
Oh, that's great.
She was working in 2018, and
that's great news.
Apparently she's doing all right, so that's good news.
That's great.
Canadian girl, Shalom Harlow. So in this particular layout, she looks gorgeous. Again, they're not showing any jewelry, which is highly unusual, but I guess it was the style in the late 90s. And again, looking gorgeous. The focus is on comfort when you're wearing evening wear, and that's something I can't really relate to personally because, I mean, they're saying, you know, it's wool, it's going to be comfortable. I know that when you get dressed up to go to some sort of function, you know, you're wearing high heels, perhaps shapewear. Personally, I'm wearing usually sleeveless, and it's 20 below outside.
Yeah.
Comfort isn't really the point.
No, that's for sure.
So if you can accomplish that in evening wear, that's terrific. And, you know, it looks beautiful. They've done a beautiful job in this layout.
So on page 43, there's this really great ad for Clinique. And obviously, Steph, you're familiar with Clinique, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes.
Great. So on the right-hand side of the page, you have this ad, and there's a picture of 3 small bottles of Clinique, and they're all kind of wrapped together in elastic. And underneath, there's simply 2 words, support group. So they have 3 different Clinique products, each having a different reason, or different function, I should say. And it's a very simple ad. It's black type on white background, which is very classy, very easy to read. But I love how the fact that they have these 3 products that are bundled together very closely with an elastic, so it looks like they're really depending upon one another. So I love the fact it's a cute term, support group. They do support one another, and of course they are supporting the actual user itself. So not much to say about it, but I just thought it was a very, very clever pun, if you will, and it really caught my attention.
So do you notice how much we talk about Clinique print ads in our podcast?
Yeah, well, there's probably a reason why.
They're brilliant. And think about it. They're not using a model. They're not even using color print. This is a black and white ad. And yet, this is your support group, the 3 Clinique products. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think the products themselves are the models. And that's what I really enjoy about their ads. I mean, not just theirs. I mean, we've talked about countless ads before. But you're right. Clinique seems to be the one that really stands out. Clinique, Aveeno, some of the other ones. So really, really clever.
Yes.
Great advertising work. And I'm not sure who the ad agency is, but I hope they, again, won some awards for this. Very, very smart.
So now we come to page 252, and it's a layout entitled Rocket Girl. I'm just going to go ahead and read the caption. Launching into orbit this season are high-tech accessories, stark white moon boots, platinum bags, and ornamental armor. Every girl will want to take off with a little space-age material. And so what this is, it's our Rocket Girl is model Alek Wek, photography by Greg Delves, Makeup by Brigitte Reiss-Anderson, and manicure by Bernadette Thompson.
Manicure? Wow, okay.
They credited the manicure, but if you notice, they didn't credit a hairstylist, and that's because she shaved her head. She has Alek Wek has a shaved head.
Wait a minute, you're saying that a hairstylist could not have shaved her head and they couldn't have given her credit for that, like Jimmy's Barbershop?
I suppose.
Yeah, I think they should have done.
Maybe they should have.
Jimmy, whoever you are, Jimmy's Barbershop, who took a straight blade to shave off her hair, good job.
Oh my gosh. So if you look at, this is a really beautifully photographed layout. So you see it's made to look very space age. She looks like she's sort of on another planet.
Now, I want to bring your attention to the next page with the boots that she's wearing. Does that remind you of anything? Let me describe the boots. They're white boots. They're, how would you describe the length of those boots? They're calf length?
Mid-calf.
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 Do those boots remind you of anything?
With the red heel.
That's a red heel?
That's a heel.
You sure about that?
They're very cool, actually.
Oh, I didn't notice a red heel. I thought that was like a button on top of the dome there that she's standing on. But those boots remind me of the Nancy Sinatra. These boots are made for walking.
That's right. I didn't even think of that.
Exactly
Totally.
like them. Yeah.
So this is, as you can tell, this is an accessories layout. And the first page is a very striking close-up shot of the model Alek Wek. And she's wearing wraparound Christian Dior sunglasses with a white hood by Stephen Jones Millinery. So the accessories shown are mainly white leather or white patent leather. On one photo, she's wearing a plexiglass perforated cuff bracelet. I would describe the photography style as space-age, otherworldly goddess. She looks beautiful. The makeup is a streak of dramatic red eyeshadow. The rest of her face is left mainly natural, showcasing her perfect skin. And designers include Valentino, Dolce and Gabbana, Erickson Beamon, and Walter Steiger. Now, Alek Wek, she's a beautiful, exotic, dark-skinned Sudanese model. She fled the Sudan to London with her family in 1985 when civil war broke out. Do you remember that in the news?
I remember. I don't know exactly when it was from, but you heard about it a lot. It left a lot of people devastated, homeless, many. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So she was actually discovered in an outdoor market, a flea market, in 1995 in London by a Models 1 scout. And she started off by appearing in several music videos for Tina Turner, Janet Jackson, and she was named Model of the Year by MTV in 1997. How cool is that?
Amazing.
What an honor. Then she became the first African model to appear on the cover of Elle that same year. So Alek has appeared on the cover of American, French, German, and South African Elle, as well as ID, Cosmopolitan, Glamour, Forbes magazine Africa, and Ebony.
Impressive.
Very, very impressive. So there were other 90s black models. Tyra Banks comes to mind, Naomi Campbell.
Beverly Johnson.
Yeah. So, but Alek has been credited for her influence on the perception of beauty in the fashion industry where dark-skinned models were a rarity. And for that reason, her success was applauded by black women all over the world.
Well, it shouldn't be just black women, I think, by people in general. She's a beautiful model. She is darker skinned, certainly, than Tyra Banks or some of the other ones.
Unconventional.
Yeah, but beauty is beauty.
She's gorgeous. She shows off the accessories and clothing, for that matter, beautifully.
Great smile.
Amazing smile.
Yeah.
And look at this photo. So I'm just going to show you this photo of her. Like, she's a goddess. She's wearing this plexiglass bracelet. She's leaning against her hand. She looks like art.
Well,
honestly,
she looks like she looks very, very tough, intimidating. In fact, you know who she looks a lot alike in this particular picture?
Who?
Grace Jones.
She does. You know, I never noticed that, but it's true.
And Grace Jones, I think, was also known for wearing that makeup in a similar way too, with almost like the shocking makeup. In this case, it's a red stripe by her eye, and it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, only in this photo, I think that she's demonstrating a little more vulnerability.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, Grace Jones is always more fierce, and she wants to kick your butt.
Androgynous.
Very much so,
looking.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. In this case, it's more contemplative. It's still a beautiful picture.
So let me tell you what Oprah Winfrey has said about Alek Wek, and I'm going to quote her. "If you were on the cover of a magazine when I was growing up, I would have had a different concept of who I was." So that's high praise for Alek Wek.
Wow, that's great.
Yes. Now, the makeup artist on this layout is actually the same one that worked on the cover. Her name is Brigitte Reiss-Anderson. She's from Stockholm, Sweden. She got her start in Sweden working in the movie industry, costume and makeup departments. She's become one of the most accomplished makeup model and celebrity makeup artists. She's done over 200 magazine covers. She's worked in Paris in the 1980s with legendary photographers such as Guy Bourdin, Helmut Newton, David Seidner, Albert Watson, and Hans Fuhrer. Included in her list of clients are 20 Oscar winners.
Wow.
20.
That is unbelievable.
Some of them include Meryl Streep, Hilary Swank, Taylor Swift, Mariah Carey, Michelle Pfeiffer, Claire Danes, Catherine Deneuve. The list goes on and on.
That
she
is
incredible.
quite the impressive resume.
She is incredible. So that's Brigitte Reiss-Anderson. All in all, this is a gorgeous looking layout. Very unique. Alek Wek, a unique, beautiful model.
Clearly.
And the layout itself, very cool, spacey, done against the backdrop of sky. Just gorgeous.
But it's not just sky. It looks like stormy sky. So it's a very interesting background.
It does. It does.
Yeah. Thanks, Steph. So on pages 40 to 41, I want to draw your attention. I know we're going a bit out of order here. To, again, a double-page ad. It is for Microsoft. I'm always fascinated by these earlier computer ads, if you will. And on the left-hand side, there's a huge picture of this woman looking intently at a screen. And underneath it says, "Where do you want to go today?" That was one of Microsoft's slogans. Now, for a lot of frustrated Microsoft users, they could jokingly say, well, not the blue screen of death, because that's what they were known for a lot
I
of the time.
remember that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So what they were talking about basically is what you can do with Microsoft products. Now, I think at the time they just started to introduce maybe Microsoft Office. So there's so many things you can do. And they're saying at the very end, so for us, this isn't just a slogan. It's an honest question. And how you answer makes all the difference. So we'll ask it again. Where do you want to go today? Now, if you're an actor, you might say, where do you want to go today? Or another way is, where do you want to go today? Or maybe, where do you want to go today? I'm not sure where the emphasis is, but I always find it interesting to look at old computer ads, or in this case, software, Microsoft. And it is interesting to kind of see the evolution. If you recall as well, in the 2000s, they had the Start Me Up, with the Rolling Stone song and all the different slogans Microsoft had. But anyway, where do we want to go today? Well, Steph, you're going to tell us in just a second.
So you know what, Morley? There's so many amazing layouts in this magazine that I hardly know where to start, but time will only allow for me to do another short one.
Okay.
So this is actually a short, it's a one-pager.
Okay.
It's in the people section of the magazine, and it's entitled Gray Days. So basically, gray at this time in 1998 was very much in style, and it's just showing different celebrities and how they're wearing the color gray.
Now, I noticed the article was written by Jennifer Jackson. Now, I've heard of Janet, I've heard of Latoya. Is this sort of like the black sheep of the family? Instead of becoming a singer, became a writer?
Could be.
Maybe, okay.
Could be.
Okay.
So this is page 69, and I'm just going to read out the caption quickly. It's, "This fall, we've heard complaints that the season's biggest shade, gray, is blasé, but not everyone thinks so. And chic women from Los Angeles to New York are slipping into every gradation from aluminum to anthracite, whether it's a glamorous Emmy evening gown or casual front row fashion show attire at the recent Calvin Klein collection. Anyone who's still unconvinced will be thrilled to know that color, meaning pink and blue, seems to be the news for spring." Now I'm going to they've got photographs of celebrities, different celebrities wearing shades of gray.
A lot of celebrities.
Yeah. And it's clearly in style. And it's mainly sleeveless tops and gowns, casual to beaded gowns. Someone here is wearing a t-shirt. So you've got Michelle Pfeiffer, Angela Lindvall, she's a model, Gail Elliott, another model.
Gwyneth Paltrow, I see.
Gretchen Mol, Mariska Hargitay.
Now, let me ask you a question. What do you think of gray?
I love gray.
Do you?
I do. I like wearing gray. It's easy. It sort of matches. You could wear gray and then with a pop of color, it sort of matches everything.
So it's sort of like when you're cooking, it's almost like cooking with garlic. Garlic goes with almost everything.
You could say that, yeah. Except it smells better.
I didn't know that gray has any smell to it.
Oh my gosh. And also, I just want to say, Lara Flynn Boyle looks beautiful in this. It looks like a silky gown.
Okay, so Lara Flynn, if you're listening, Stephanie thinks you look beautiful. Okay.
She does, and they all do, actually.
Right.
But another thing I'm noticing, and I've noticed throughout this magazine, and I keep mentioning, so I'm sorry to keep mentioning this, but not a whole lot of jewelry.
That's true.
Whether they're wearing an embellished beaded gown or a simple gown, Not a whole lot of jewelry.
I don't see any necklaces.
No.
Or very few, if any.
Some of them are wearing a watch, but not really any jewelry in it. I really feel like it's a great look. Coco Chanel actually had a quote. Coco Chanel. She said something to the effect of, and I'm just remembering this off the top of my head, before you leave, take a look in the mirror and take something off.
Right.
And,
right.
She was a designer. She also designed jewelry. And for her to say you're wearing too much jewelry is really something.
Well, as much as I like her jewelry, I prefer her cereal, Cocoa Puffs.
You're so silly.
I know. But it is true. And in fact, the same thing goes with writing as well. As a copywriter, they would say, take whatever you've written and then take out 30% of it. So a lot of it has to do with that as well. I mean, cooking too. In cooking shows, they often tell the chefs to edit their cooking, meaning sometimes they've, given too much flavor, so they tell them to edit their cooking.
Yeah, sometimes less is more. Many times less is more.
Yeah, a lot of times it's true. So that's what's really great about this magazine. You never know what nuggets you'll find. In this particular case, there's a people section. There's another section I noticed about the books that came out. Some of the books were very popular at the time. There's just so many different sections of this particular magazine, although fashion magazines in general, that it is, again, like a box of chocolates. I've referred to it before. You really do never know what you're going to get in every issue. And when you look at nostalgia, it can often bring back memories. It brings back feelings. And that's why people love them so much.
You've got actors and actresses in here, Hollywood, books, music.
There really is something for everyone.
Something for everyone. So that brings us to the end of this episode of Uncovered. If you'd like to reach us, we love to hear from you. We're on Instagram, uncovered_VFMR. We're also on Twitter, Uncovered VFMR. There's our email address,
uncoveredpodcast@yahoo.com.
Yes. And of course, you can find all these items and more in my eBay and Etsy stores. My seller name is Great Mags, GR8 MAGZ.
Now, let's say, for example, we have a lot of listeners from Indonesia. So instead of a Z, what would that last letter be?
We're going to have to check with them. Indonesia, reach out to us and let us know how to spell Great Mags.
Okay, I'm just curious. Okay. Well, thanks for listening, and we look forward to the next time. Thank you for listening to Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review Podcast.
Uncovered was produced by Morley Schulman, with music by David Renda and logo design by Alan Lipman.
So remember, if you liked Uncovered, be sure to tell 2 friends about it.
And they'll tell 2 friends.
And so on, and so on, and so on.